Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. And this is Micro Scalp Clinic. I'm here to talk about finasteride and minoxidil. Are they any good for your hair? So without further ado, guys, let's start the show. So I know lots of people when growing up, I've been losing my hair since I was 16. And I went to a hair loss clinic and they wanted to put finasteride in my head. And I got to tell you guys, I tried it for about 6 months, and my sex drive just fell over a cliff. It is unbelievable. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and there was times when I just couldn't even get it up. It was that bad. So I did some more research, and I did some more research about finasteride, and I found out that it does affect your testosterone, especially DHT. So what it does, DHT is one of the major issues of hair loss. It's what's basically, you know, d- when testosterone converts to DHT, DHT is what basically produces hair loss. And what finasteride does, it's like a DHT blocker. And I had extremely high amount of testosterone at the time. This is why I lost my hair, you see. So I was producing huge amounts of DHT, and I was getting lots of chest hair. I was getting hair on my shoulders, on my back, but I was losing hair on my head. And so I tried it for 6 months, and my sex drive went down, guys, and I stopped using it. I just felt that my sex drive is much more important, and to this day I stand by it because DHT as well as testosterone are very, very important for many reasons. And you can see here why DHT matters in adult males. First of all, sexual health, the brain and mood. So it kind of puts you in a good mood. These are natural antidepressants. Having DHT gives you lots of strength and energy. So if you go to the gym, you bulk out very quickly. And I am pretty bulked out as well. I'm very kind of, when I go to the gym, it doesn't take me long to get really bulked out and gain lots of muscles very quickly. That's because of testosterone and DHT. The skin and hair, obviously the hair gets reduced, but you get hair all over your body. The skin actually becomes very thick, very tough because, as people with high levels of testosterone, they're made to fight. And what happens is, as your body becomes ready to fight and you got lots of testosterone, your skin becomes unbelievably thick. So when you take a hit, you don't really get hurt that much. And so that's what testosterone DHT does to you. Prostate health. But there's other benefits which is not listed here, guys. Number one is motivation, drive, determination. These are like male characteristics, masculine characteristics that you need as a man. So as a man, you got to have that drive, you got to have that motivation, you got to go out and get things done, go out and solve problems, go out and work, go out and really break sweat. All of this stuff. You need motivation, you need drive, you need determination. All of that stuff comes from testosterone and DHT. And people that have high levels of testosterone and DHT have unbelievable amount of drive, huge amounts of drive. So you don't want to lose that as a man, right? Because it's the drive and determination. It's what makes a difference between a successful man or not. Because it's a drive and determination that really pushes you forward in life. So you don't want to lose that. So finasteride is a no-go for me, and I hope it's a no-go for you guys as well, because it really will affect your life in a negative way, and it's just not worth it, guys. It really is not worth it. It's not worth losing that drive, determination, and all those benefits that testosterone and DHT brings you. You don't want to lose that. Not even a single percent. You don't want to even lose a single percent. because all that, you know, all that matters because as you get older, your testosterone and DHT levels gradually go down anyway. So you don't want to even lose a little bit of it. Even a gradual decrease will affect your life, in a big way. You might not realize it, but it does affect it. So you can see here from the differences between testosterone and DHT. Testosterone is used for muscle building, recovery, energy. It has a very strong effect. Side concerns: if you have low testosterone, you have fatigue, low libido, muscle loss. DHT main role in adults gives you the libido, neurological strength and mood, muscle growth, mild effect, high levels of hair loss, prostate enlargement. In short, testosterone is the main anabolic hormone, while DHT is more about sexual performance, mental sharpness, and drive. So you see, guys, DHT is just as important as testosterone, guys. So you got to think of it as a natural, your natural body. Nothing is here by accident. We all have a role. Our bodies have a role, and everything happens for a reason. The fact that testosterone gets converted to DHT, there's a reason for that. Nothing is happens by accident in our bodies. Everything is a reason. And you don't want to mess around with Mother Nature. You don't want to mess around these with your hormones or with testosterone or with DHT, especially with finasteride. It's just not worth the side effects. So let's go to, and you can see here effects of high versus low DHT. When DHT is too high, accelerated male pattern baldness, which happened to me. Increased acne and oily skin. Yeah, that's happened to me as well. Risk of prostate hyperplasia. Sorry, guys, I can't pronounce it. Possible irritability. Sorry. You get irritated very quickly, mainly because testosterone DHT, it's very, very, very high in masculine energy, masculine strength. So yeah, you do tend to get angry quite easier as well. When DHT is too low, weak sex drive, poor erection, low motivation or brain fog, fewer drive in workouts, emotional flatness. So you see, the um, the benefits outweigh the cons basically, and it's just not worth messing around with, guys. So let's talk about and you can see here low DHT side effects. Obviously, the erectile dysfunction, decreased confidence. So you would literally have no confidence, no drive, no motivation. It's just not worth it, guys. Your mental health is much more important than your head. Trust me. Mental fatigue, low libido, it really is not worth it at all. So let's talk about minoxidil. And minoxidil is different from finasteride. And basically, what minoxidil is, and it's more like a stimulant. It's a stimulant for your head, and it stimulates the follicles and hair follicles to grow and stuff like that. So it's not really a hair loss program, or it's not like a DHT blocker or anything like that, or it's not going to affect your DHT or hormones or anything like that. However, there have been a lot of people, a lot of men where minoxidil has worked. And it is a stimulant, right? It does stimulate your hair, and some people have really good results. Others not so much. For me, it didn't work because like I said, my problem is high levels of DHT. And when I did some testosterone, tests and DHT tests, my results came way above average than the normal man. And that was my problem, and that's why I was losing hair since I was 16. So minoxidil will not, work for me because you have DHT working in the background, and I'm losing hair because of it, and that way outweighs what minoxidil was doing in terms of stimulants. So minoxidil was a waste of time for me. I did that for a couple of years, didn't really make a difference, and it did slow down. I must admit, it did slow down my hair loss, and when I was around in my 20s, I stopped using minoxidil because I thought it just wasn't working for me because I tried it for a few years and I didn't see a difference. It does slow down male baldness though. Well, I didn't know that at the time. I just thought it just doesn't work. So I stopped using it. And I did get warned from people, from doctors, to never to stop using it. You have to use it for the rest of your life. But I ignored those. Obviously, I ignored them. And yeah, my hair started falling out much faster. And I obviously started using it again. And and then I used it for another 6 months, and my hair was still falling out really fast. Then I went to the doctors again, and this is the hair loss consultant. When I say doctor, I mean the hair loss consultant. And he recommended me a higher dose. And so I went to a higher dose, and it kind of my hair slowed down. And after another year, my hair started falling out again, and I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "You have to have a higher dose." And I said, "Oh, come on, man." So what happens with minoxidil is, it's still, you know, the problem with any medicine, anything you put on your head, any ointment, whether it's foam or liquid, your body eventually becomes used to it. It's like, your body becomes tolerant to it. It's like, I don't want to compare it to drugs or anything because I don't take drugs, but people who take drugs, you know, they find they start with a low dose, but eventually their body becomes tolerant to it and they start taking higher dose and it keeps going. It goes higher and higher and higher. Eventually they have an overdose and some people die or some people go to hospital. But you get the point. When you take medicine, your body eventually gets used to it, and you got to keep taking higher doses. So that's the problem with minoxidil. You got to keep taking higher and higher doses, and eventually you'll come to a dose where you can't go any higher, and that's when your hair really starts to fall out. And that was a problem. So I made the decision not to go any higher with minoxidil. I just said, you know what, I'm not going to go any higher. I'm going to stick to the level I'm at, and I'm just gonna, wait it out. And I did it for another year or so, and the hair was falling out, even more. And I just using it after that. It just wasn't worth me paying all that money and putting that stuff on my head that wasn't even working. And I just gave up on it, to be honest. And then I obviously I did a hair transplant, and that looked good for a few years. And I wanted to go back to do you know, I wanted to go back and do it again because the more hair I was losing out. But this time when I went to do it again, I lost all my donor hair. But those of you who know hair transplant, you know that, you need very good donor hairs from your side of the head or back of your head and to put on the top of your head. And these donor hairs are very good, but they only work once. So once you take them out, that's it, guys. You never get the same again. So I've run out of really very, very good donor hairs from the side or the back of my head. And that was it. I couldn't do any more hair transplants. And and yeah, so that was kind of it for me. I think I ran out of all my options, to be honest. And then what did I do? I started wearing kind of like a hairpiece as well, and I wasn't very comfortable wearing that. And I kept my hair just short. I just cut it short, and I kept my hair short. And it wasn't a few years later when I found out this SMP treatment and the hair tattoo, and I did that. And out of all the everything that I've done, I think that worked the best for me. So basically, I kept my high testosterone DHT. I kept that. I've never messed around with that. I still look like I've got a full head of hair with the SMP. I still have all my confidence. I still have all my drive, determination. I'm pretty successful in my life. I'm very good with the ladies. So, end of the day, it's worked out well for me. And as you can see, different things work on different people. And this was, what I tried in my lifetime. This is what worked for me. And I've never looked back since, guys. End of the day, you know, my head looks great. And when you guys see me, you will, you'll realize it looks great. And sometimes I do a top up every few years, maybe 2 or 3 years. And yeah, I just keep maintaining it. And I save a lot of money on haircuts. I do my own haircuts, because I can keep it really short. Um, and yeah, it just looks good. And plus, I go to the gym. I do lots of like MMA and kickboxing. And when you're doing MMA, you're doing a lot of grappling work, and people are, grabbing your head. And if I had hair, a full head of hair, you know, it would be different. And it's plus when you're in a fight, people can grab your hair and stuff. Having it very, very short really helps you. It helps you in the gym, helps you train. Um, People can't grab your hair and stuff, and it really is it really is a lifesaver. Plus one of the things that high testosterone and DHT does is also your body temperature gets very high as well, because you've got high levels of testosterone and DHT. It also keeps your body temperature very high. So when you got a full head of hair, you get extremely hot in the summer. So when you go to hot climates like Dubai, or say, in Asia, like Thailand, or Philippines, or anything like that, you really feel it, guys. You really feel it, especially when you got a full head of hair. You feel like you're about to die of heat. It's so bad. So having a shaved head gives the head lots of circulation. Gives your head lots of room to breathe, and keeps your temperature down as well. So it's got very lots of good, great advantages. Put it that way. Plus, you look good. You look like Jason Statham, and that's in fashion at the moment. Look at that Jason Statham look. End of the day, guys, women don't want good-looking men. Women don't want like men that look feminine. You see a lot of good-looking guys. They look very feminine. These K-pop guys and all. You know, they're very feminine guys. They might look good. They might, they got that feminine look about them. That's why they look good. But reality is, women want masculine presence. That's what women really want. They want a masculine presence, and you just got to be a man. And having a shaved head, but being masculine, doing all the masculine stuff, being masculine, being a man, having that drive, determination. Because this is testosterone is what women don't have. It's what men have. And we have to take full advantage of it. And women love that, guy. So I mean, as I older I got, the more I realized that hair really doesn't matter. It's all about masculinity. It's all about confidence, how you carry yourself. That's what women want. Women want security. They want a man they can rely on. They want a man with strength, with drive, with determination. And they don't really care about looks that much. If you give a woman that masculine presence, a real masculine energy, women will gravitate towards that. You know, I don't know any woman who will say no to a real masculine guy. So this is what you need to focus on in life, guys. Not focus on, you know, your hair all the time, because sometimes you just gotta deal with it and move on. I've had so many failures in my life with hair, and I did have hair throughout my prime of my life. In my from 16, I was losing my hair. So I had huge confidence problems when I was younger. So 16 all the way in my 20s, these were my prime years, right? And it wasn't until like in my 30s I really got my confidence back, and I kind of realized hair is not a major issue, and I started really working on myself, becoming successful, and having that confidence and drive, determination. And since then, I've never looked back. I've had hot women after hot women and after hot women. I've never um, yeah, I wouldn't call myself a failure. I think I've had pretty successful life in every direction, and that's thanks to high testosterone, high DHT. So that's why, guys, this channel is not about hair and hair loss. I'm also here to kind of give you that motivation as well, drive, motivation, and give you advice in life and other things. How men should be real men, that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's all for now, guys. I just wanted to talk about minoxidil and finasteride. So take care for now, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.